This is Richard Lynch, you're watching ilovelimerick.com, and today I'm at the People's Museum in Limerick and we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of marriage equality in Limerick. David, 10 years, how do you feel that you took part in such a huge piece of history?
I was saying earlier on that, the amount of people that came out to support, to volunteer, to do everything. One of the defining moments of the whole campaign was the night before the actual vote itself, watching the 9 o'clock news and all those people getting on planes, getting on boats to come home and vote. And I remember the tears, they just started and they didn't stop for about 2 hours. And that made it all special with such an intense period of campaigning that after seeing that on the news, it made it all the more important that this was affecting so many people, and so many people were going out of their way to come home and vote and support it. It was just absolutely amazing. And that moment, it just made all the months of hard work, they made it for us.
And David, can you go back on the moment it was announced that you knew the campaign had succeeded, not just in Limerick, but nationally?
So that was actually very early on in the count centre that morning, probably about after an hour. Somebody had put out a tweet, I think it was one of the Iona Institute had put out a tweet and they conceded the election, and next thing all of a sudden it started going around to everyone that was there, and the excitement. It was really bizarre because we're like, no, it can't be. We still have to keep counting here. We still have to keep on tallying the votes, and we didn't believe it until the very end. And even as that day went on, we didn't believe it until that announcement came. And I remember being in Dolan's, you were there, the tears started, and everyone just literally, there was people sitting on the floor. I remember at one stage I was outside lying on the path because I was just so tired and so relieved, and seeing everyone there celebrating that day, it was just absolutely monumental.
Adam, 10 years of marriage equality, how were you involved with the referendum?
So I was with, as you said, the National LGBT Federation, and we were one of a number of organisations that were campaigning for this really important statement of equality.
And where do you think we stand now with LGBTQAI rights? We seem to be going backwards.
Certainly in too many parts of the world, there is regression happening, and there's definitely very reactionary forces who are trying to use our community as a kind of a culture war weapon, as opposed to we are citizens, we are people, we are part of broader society. I don't think we've seen that backwards happening in Ireland, and we're very determined, and we're really determined that that's not going to be the case. So I think as we gather here, we remember that amazing, wonderful day 10 years ago. Let it also be kind of a clarion call. We have to preserve our gains that we have already, and also be determined going forward, because there is still much work to do.
I'm here with community rights activist Billy. Billy, talk to me about your favourite memory of 10 years ago for marriage equality. I bet I know what it is.
Oh, no, that would be really hard. Let me think. It's probably the moment that I proposed to my now wife, Kate.
It was a beautiful moment. Can you run us through it? It was so special. It was just right after it was announced that marriage equality was going to go through in Ireland.
Yeah, I suppose for me, it wasn't so much beautiful, it was really stressful. Yeah. So because I had the job on the day of bringing all the papers in and counting up the numbers, and I was getting really stressed about everything, and I was only going to propose if the vote was yes. And because the Limerick count was in first, we thought that if Limerick said yes, and because we live in Limerick, we know how bad things were in Limerick, that if Limerick said yes, then maybe the rest of the country would. So I knew that as soon as that count came in, I could propose, and it was going to be a meaningful proposal that would actually end in a marriage. And I'd got Jenny to help me. She got champagne. And Sharon gave us rose petals, and Anne organised the music. And so the instant that ye all went, yay, I ran off to the corner to try and set up a kind of a private space, which was lovely. And then you came in with your video camera and messed it all up.
You loved it. You went viral. I gave you the best memory of your life.
It was fascinating. It was a beautiful moment, and I'm really pleased you were there for it.
Thank you, Billy. I'm here with Sharon McNeil, an amazing wedding planner who actually did myself and my husband's wedding. You're incredible. Sharon, you were extremely active in the marriage referendum in the Limerick Says Yes campaign. Can you explain to everyone what you did?
So along with our other committee members, there was a few of us came together and kind of founded the Yes Equality Limerick committee and kind of kicked off the campaign in Limerick. So working closely with the team in Dublin, we looked at building a strategy as to how we could actually approach the campaign here in Limerick and trying to really ensure that we were going to get the yes vote in Limerick. And how could we get the information out to people? How could we explain to people how important this was? And to really, really engage the whole community across not just the knocking on doors, but actually setting up different events, spaces where people could ask questions, you know, in a really open way, so that we could really, really ensure that everybody was fully aware of the referendum and fully aware of the important points with it and why everybody needed to say yes.
Jenny, what is the most special thing that sticks out in your mind about that event 10 years ago?
The most special thing is that it was a vote of love and compassion and kindness, and on the 10th anniversary, more than ever, we need to remember the importance of love and compassion and kindness and listening to each other and connecting to each other at a human level.
This is Richard Lynch. We're watching isleoflimerick.com, and today we've been at the People's Museum in Limerick City, and we've been celebrating 10 years of marriage equality.
Limerick said yes!
See you soon.